My name is Matthias. I'm the head of Godback North America. As you can hear, born and raised in Germany, moved to the US about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, right before the pandemic hit, actually. And yeah, I live in Portland, Oregon. This is where we opened our first office abroad. Company Godback is originally from Germany, founded in 2016 and headquartered in Germany still. But yeah, Godback is a first fashion-forward bag, backpack, and accessory company, brand. And what we do is we take ocean plastic and transform it into high-quality, long-lasting, good-looking products. How are we building a sustainable brand? I mean, it starts all with the materials, and it goes on to the people that we work with. For and with Godback, we have full control of our whole supply, valuable and production chain, basically, which means at the very beginning, where we work with fishermen in Indonesia that collect ocean plastic as bycatch, and we work with them. We give them an additional income, and we buy off the plastic from them, basically, and yeah, this is where it all starts. It's basically, I would call it a 360-degree sustainability. Like I said, it started at the very beginning, the sourcing of the raw material, the ocean plastic, till the very end of like how do the products get to the consumer, to final consumers. Because that's really, no one's perfect, but if you talk about being a sustainable brand, you try that there's more to it than just using sustainable materials. We don't just do nice bags and backpacks and accessories. We also work with the locals in Indonesia. I see that as being sustainable as well, to be more than just a fashion brand. We really give back and try to educate people on the problems of plastic pollution. Then, as I said, the materials itself, like the coating that we use for our products, we use a BUPU coating, it's called. It's way more expensive than industry standards, but it's sustainable. It doesn't pollute our groundwater. It uses way less, or it doesn't affect our climate. Stuff like that goes into it. I also think to be sustainable, you have to really pick the people that you work with, which also means, like, for example, the manufacturer that guarantees you that they pay their workers above industry standards, that they're CDEX approved. This is the next step. I would say also then the shipping, kind of like from the manufacturer to our warehouse. Then, for example, we manufacture our products in Asia. And then how do you ship it to Europe? If you now fly it to Europe, which is the cheapest and the fastest way, obviously that's not sustainable anymore, because it's also the way that pollutes our environment the most. So what we do, for example, we use trains to transport our products from Asia to Europe. Obviously, we can't do the same with going to North America. But what we do then is, at least we always use the ship, and we never fly our stuff. We also, obviously, still that affects our environment. And so we carbon offset all of our emissions that come with the production, with the shipping, all of it. We use zero waste packaging. Yeah, it's just like I said, it's like a 360-degree approach, I would say, like from the materials that you start with the people that you work with, but then also the shipping and everything that comes with it. That's, for me, how you are really sustainable. As I said before, like sustainability doesn't only mean to use sustainable materials. It also includes like the process of crafting your products. It includes the people you work with. How do you treat them? Like, for example, all of our partners are carefully selected with an emphasis on quality, sustainability, business ethics, and also operational excellence. And so we do treat everyone involved with respect, and we care about our relationship to all our global associates, which again is like part of being sustainable. It's really just not, the products, the materials or whatever. It's way more that goes into it. I think also being a sustainable or responsible brand means that you have a certain responsibility to educate your consumers, I would say. to kind of like raise awareness on certain topics, to show why you do certain things the way you do it, to be as transparent as you can be, or just to always be transparent. That's what we are, for example. We don't hide anything from the manufacturer to the way we ship our stuff. I think that's what really responsible business means as well, to be transparent, to not hide anything back. We also want people to understand that, what does sustainability really mean, and that we all have to take action kind of together. And because we want people to feel like they are part of the mission, so they feel like, change, or they are part of the change, instead of like having a feeling that change is happening to them. So I guess that's my version of like being a sustainable, responsible brand. As I said in the beginning, we work with this big network of fishermen in Indonesia, and they collect all that ocean plastic that we use. And obviously during COVID, and because of the lockdowns and travel restrictions, it kind of made it difficult for us to continue our cleanup activities at some point, which means because we have employees working for Godback in Indonesia, and overseeing everything, and they couldn't travel as much anymore. So at some point, it really had the effect that we didn't have enough fabric anymore to keep our production running. Because, as I said, we run our own cleanup. We don't buy off plastic of like big NGOs like, I don't know, Ocean Works or the Plastic Bank, which is also an option to do it. But as I said, we want to have like full control over the whole value chain. And so we got pretty close to being like completely out of stock at some point, because like I said, we couldn't run our production anymore. But then things got a little bit better, or things got better, and so that's basically, I think, how it affected us the most. I would even say it got worse due to the pandemic, because we all, like mankind, produces more plastic than ever before. And for example, like the way it works with the materials that we can use for our products is like PET and different certain types of plastic. And now we have way more, like in our cleanup, way more surgical masks being part of it, like PPE, all of that stuff. And it's harder for us now to clean everything and to kind of like sort it out, what we can use and what we can't use. Because also, obviously, we don't just use the plastic or the materials that we can use, and the rest we just throw it away and it ends up in the ocean again or whatever. We also educated, like I said in the beginning, we educated like local authorities in Indonesia, and we built actually like waste infrastructure systems with the local government. And so we're still working on that as well, because there are now more and more different materials or trash, like I said, like PPE, for example, that we have to be aware of as well. So it definitely makes it more difficult, but it also gives us more plastic. So as I said earlier, we were at a point where we didn't have enough plastic at some point to keep our production running. Now we have more than ever before. And so I guess you can definitely say that's not a good thing. Obviously, it gives us more material to produce more products, but at the end of the day, we don't want to do that, because, we do it for a reason, to get rid of all the plastic, but it's worse than ever before, actually, yeah. At the end, it's a fine line between sustainability and consumerism. And we, in general, we want people to question the way we consume fashion. Because obviously fast fashion, for example, is very bad for our planet and for our oceans and for everyone. And so we try to not educate the consumer, but always let the consumer to a question where they say, do I really need to buy something? Do I really need a new backpack, for example, in that case, or is mine still good? Can I still keep it for a couple of years? But also at the same time, obviously, the more backpacks we sell, the more plastic we recycle. So as I said in the beginning, it's like a fine line between going out there and saying, hey, our backpacks are great, our backpacks, are cool, and they do something good for the planet, but also against consumerism. So how do you communicate that to the consumer? We do it, by the way, like I said earlier, like fast fashion is not good for environment. We're the complete opposite of it. I would say we're slow fashion. We don't bring out new styles, every season. Or we don't even have real seasons. Like we have our backpacks, and we designed them in a timeless, classic way, with the idea behind it that if you buy a backpack, for example, you don't need a new one for the next 5-7 years, as long as possible, for example. And even if afterwards, if it breaks down or whatever, you can send it back to us and we recycle it. So yeah, how do you communicate that through your marketing? It's very difficult, and you have to be just authentic. And yeah, also, how do you avoid greenwashing? I would say greenwashing, you have to be mindful on who to collaborate with. We do a lot of partnerships and collaborations with other brands, people, organizations, but it always has to fit into our mission. And obviously we wouldn't collaborate with an oil company or whatever, but then if there's another brand who makes, for example, sunglasses made from recycled plastics, we're very happy to, raise awareness together. So you have to question everything a lot, basically, at the end of the day. And this is how you avoid greenwashing, I would say. I would say the number one reason is maximizing profits and the price, because we know that people who really want to go the sustainable way, and that means really, like I said in the beginning, not only like using a part of your materials is like recycled plastics or whatever, like being truly sustainable with everything that comes with it, with the people that you work with, paying everybody at least industry standards and go beyond that. Sustainable fashion will always be more expensive than regular fashion is, especially like fast fashion. And I think obviously that keeps a lot of brands from really following through. And I know a lot of them who said they want to go that route and they didn't follow through with it. And I think at some point they realized it's going to be too expensive and people are less willing to buy it then. Like I said, I'm not going to shame any brands or whatever. But this is, I'd say the number one reason. Also, it's really difficult to build a real sustainable supply chain. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of money, a lot of effort. And so I understand that most brands, companies can't do it because it's just really, really difficult to build it up. Like, for example, for us, Godbag, it took us about 2 years to really build a supply chain that we felt comfortable with. I would say we're still not perfect. No one is perfect, but we're trying to be as sustainable as possible. And yeah, just a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of effort. It's definitely more expensive. Sustainable fashion is not cheap. And that's keeping a lot of brands from doing it. Try to be as sustainable as you can without overachieving. If you really, let's say, I have that goal of being sustainable. I want to change things. It takes time. You have to take one step at a time. You can't be sustainable overnight. You have to start small, I would say, but you go every day in the right direction. Be aware that sustainability brings a lot of challenges with it, like financially wise, and just in terms of you get at so many points that you didn't think of before trying to go sustainable. That's why I said it brings a lot of challenges. It definitely takes patience as well. But I also would tell other brands to be as transparent as possible. Don't claim to be sustainable if you're not. Don't, for example, in our case, there are other brands who say, hey, we use ocean plastic, but they don't. They use ocean-bound plastic, or just a part of it is ocean plastic. Don't claim to be sustainable if you're not. Consumers will know that, and you'll lose them forever. They will realize that at some point, and they won't trust you at all anymore. So I would say be as transparent as possible, but at the same time, don't claim to be something you're not. If you are not 100% sustainable, which I think no one is, but if you're not fully sustainable, don't claim to be. Just say, those are the steps we already took. Those are the steps that we want to take in the future. So consumers will definitely realize that, and they will be appreciative of it. The easiest way to do it is pretty obvious, and it's just to support businesses that are sustainable and don't support businesses that are not. And like I said, it's easy said and done, because for a lot of things, you don't have sustainable alternatives, or it gets really expensive at some point. If you just try to live fully sustainable, is not cheap, as I said, but also then just do less, consume less, buy less, be mindful when it comes to the way we consume fashion. Like I said earlier as well, do I really need a new backpack, or is my old one still good enough? We're happy if someone buys a backpack and then says, I don't need a new one for the next 5-7 years. Then that's like definitely a way to take action. And like I said, if you want to really promote sustainability in fashion, then really promote those brands who are sustainable or do the right thing, go in the right direction, support the right cause. There are also even some brands who are not really fully sustainable, but with their, you buy products and they at least donate a share of their revenue to parks and projects, to, I don't know, marine organizations or whatever. This is already a way to really support and promote sustainability in fashion. And obviously don't support the very big ones that are the complete opposite, that are, coming out with like 52 micro seasons per year, and 85% of their fashion will end up in the landfill again because no one's buying it. And then a new season comes in. Like I said, it's pretty easy, and we just have to stick to it. And then on top of that, I would encourage people to be, despite the fact of just, if I buy a backpack, like for example from Gotback, and they recycle 9.9 pounds of ocean plastic, but at the same time, I'm still, at least polluting the planet with 10 pounds of ocean plastic in general. Obviously, that's not a win at the end. I want people to encourage as well to be more mindful when it comes to recycling plastic in general, the way we do it, the consumption of plastic in general. Just always, be mindful is like the word I can think of all the time. And how, there's so much that you can do beyond just buying new products and just feeling good about it. Oh, I supported a sustainable cause now. I think everybody should live a more sustainable life. Once again, I don't want to sound like, I'm such a Debbie Downer. Everybody is doing it in a bad way, and because no one's perfect, like I said a million times as well, but there's a lot of things that we all can do. And even, I don't know, do a cleanup on the weekend, and pick up trash when you see it. We also organize beyond the cleanup, for example, that we have in Indonesia. We organize cleanups all around the world in general, that where we ask volunteers to come in and help us to clean a river, to clean a lake, to clean a beach. We're planning, for example, a cleanup for World Ocean Day this year here on the West Coast, is in the making right now in Oregon. And also we'll obviously do more marketing around it, I would call it, to get as many volunteers in as possible. Like, be part of something like that. I think everybody, can do a little bit every single day. As I said earlier as well, like, if you do something a little step every single day, but in the right direction, that's how we can all support. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for joining the Sustainable Fashion Forum. As I said a couple of times, I think it all comes down to working together, and only together we can really create an impact and make the world a better place. Do it for our oceans, do it for the animals that live in our oceans, the fish, the whales that we kill every day because they eat plastic. Only together we can make change happen.